Hey guys, today we're talking about the last mile problem. More specifically, we're talking about my last mile problem. The last mile problem is a phrase for commuters who generally take at least two different forms of transportation to get to work. One generic example of this is if you were to drive your vehicle from your home to your city of employment. And then the distance from that parking spot to your job would be the last mile problem. To be honest, the distance that I'm trying to cover, I don't think is actually a full mile. All right, so I did a dry run just walking, and it looks like it's about half a mile, and I walked it in 8 minutes and 19 seconds. I'd still rather have a faster, better way of traveling that distance instead of just walking. First, let's look at what people generally consider to be last mile vehicles. So there are bikes and e-bikes, and they're definitely fast, but they're also pretty heavy, and storing them is a whole other problem. Electric skateboards are pretty cool, but you do have to deal with the whole charging thing, and also the price on them is yikes. And then there are electric scooters, which just no. It is painfully obvious what last mile vehicle I need to use. A skateboard. I don't know how many skateboarders are watching, but I actually have a really cool trick to apply grip tape. You just take your sheet of grip, just lay it right over the skateboard, line it up with the board, and just like this, and then you drop it right on top of there. You got your grip tape. The last mile skateboard is going to be a little bit different than my regular skateboard. My regular board is about 8 inches wide by 32 inches long, and the last mile board is 7 inches wide by around 27.7-ish inches long. Which makes it lighter, and that's great because I have some added weight that I have to compensate for, but we'll talk about that later. But it's easier to carry and easy to store. Okay, the wheels. My regular board has high durometer wheels, which makes them light and hard. And they're not high traction, so you can slide out of a trick. The last mile board has low durometer wheels, which are softer and it gives you a smoother ride. They're also high traction, which is good for different terrain, but they're also pretty heavy, and that's where I have to kind of find other ways to make up for that added weight. I actually used to use my regular board as my last mile vehicle, but because of the high durometer wheels, every time I'd ride on the sidewalk, I could literally feel every single crack on the sidewalk. Now I have a fix for that. Alright, so tomorrow we'll go through my usual commute and we'll compare the time from when I did the dry run just walking. Now I'll use my last mile vehicle. Actually, there's one last thing we need to do before tomorrow. And now it's super easy to store. All right, we're ready for tomorrow. Alright, so if we compare the times, obviously my last mile commute is a lot quicker on a skateboard. I don't think that was ever really the question. A lot of people are starting to shift from working 100% from home. Now they're doing more of a hybrid schedule. I know personally I am. So now that I'm commuting again and I'm having to deal with that even just for part of the week, questions like the last mile problem is something that I'm thinking about again and I'm finding a solution for. Now obviously I have to do this commute and I do have to get through that half of a mile, and if I have to do it even just for part of the week, I may as well have some fun with it. And that's one thing I could say for sure. Riding a skateboard for a couple minutes in the beginning of the day, there's no better way to get the day started. But of course that may be a little bit different for you. Alright guys, that's gonna be it. As always, this is Carlos with Tech V.8 and I am out.